Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nebula versus Court. Like I said, we're having some technical difficulties, so if anyone in the chat could say something, or if we are sounding weird or audio sounds mixed poorly, let us know and I'll try to get that fixed, but we should be good for the most part. This is our cast where if you are a member of our Nebula Theater channel, you can actually submit a matchup for us to debate, which is what we're doing right now. Allhard, do you know how today's stream came to be?
I submitted it.
Yeah.
This was my matchup that I decided to do because everyone loves Percy Jackson, but no one knows about Michael Vey.
And this will be a perfect time to talk about it.
Exactly.
I today will be your host. I am Santi Sherm, and I will be representing Percy Jackson on today's cast. Croat was originally going to, but sadly, we lost him in the war, so we're gonna have to. We skipped out on Croat this time, but he'll be back next week. Don't worry. Allhart, who are you representing today? If they couldn't already guess by your introduction.
I'm gonna be repping Michael, the only one who I have met who's read all the books, but not the only appreciator of Michael Vey.
Yes, today, guesting on us today, you may know them from the Raptor streams. We have Dr. Fiction.
Hello, happy to be here again. I know about a bit of both, so I can at least follow along the conversation. Rooting for Percy.
All right. And with us today, he's been on quite a few of these. He's very reliable. We have Comet. Say hi.
Oh, hello. Thank you. Try to be reliable when I can.
Pretty good at it. All right. Now, I think we can kind of just jump right in. Now, you may have noticed a bit of a rebrand. We've changed from the Fan Battle Cast to the Versus Court just for the sake of not getting too mixed up with actual fan battle. So this now applies to the Nebula Theater as well. A Nebula Fan Battle Cast has become Nebula versus Court. So
we don't want to associate with them.
This is the first official Nebula versus Court. When Allhart says we don't want to associate with Fan Battle, he means we don't want to be confused with him. We love all the people at Fan Battle. There's a lot of crossover between our teams.
They're awesome.
Yeah, they're great people. Kane Tenna was awesome. You should watch it. But today, we're not talking about Kane Tenna. We are talking about Percy versus Michael Vey. And we don't do a 60 seconds where we kind of quickly make a point and argue. We kind of give a longer, in-depth explanation on the character. Percy Jackson's the more well-known, so I can kind of just quickly summarize him. He is the child of a mortal woman, Sally Jackson, and the Greek god Poseidon. He is a demigod hero like Hercules, but in the modern day. He has gone on over a decade's worth of adventures, fighting every mythological creature you can think of from the Greek pantheon. And then they ran out of Greek pantheon creatures, so they started outsourcing to other pantheons. He's fought so many different guys. He is, as a son of Poseidon, he has primarily water powers. But we can get into some other stuff, a bit more esoteric or a bit more versatile power sets. We can talk about that later. But also, he is an incredibly skilled swordsman, is one of his main talking points. Not gonna try to make an argument for skill yet, but like he fought gods of war and other incredibly impressive martial characters and held his own in combat. He is a archetypical Greek hero in the modern day, and he's a very cool character. And he very iconic book series for the young adult genre.
Yeah.
Allhart, who is Michael Vey?
Let me start this off with a question. How much is okay to push for the betterment of humanity? How many lives are okay to be lost? That is the question that Michael Vey is presented with during his series. Michael Vey was not born normal. The Elgin Corporation wanted to make a new device that would be a brand new major device in the medical field that would replace the way that we do like MRIs and such. Instead of using radio waves and such, it would be electro waves, and it was the picture was way higher definition. It was supposed to be this great new thing that would cost way less, and then they did it on a trial of using it for ultrasounds in women. And of the over 100 babies, only 20 survived. But those that survived were given electrical based powers. So this is Michael Vey. He is small. He is unassuming. He is not someone you would look at and think, oh, that's the main character. But he has the power of pure electrical might. At the beginning of our story, he is, like I said, unassuming. But over time, through a journey of trying to rescue his mother, trying to shut down the Elgin Corporation, and trying to stop their super soldier program, he grows much as a character. He travels the entire world searching for their bases, searching for other electric children, otherwise known as the Glows, to help them escape Elgin's tyranny, because they're very good at that. They're very good at tricking the other Glows into working for them. So he's battled multiple of them. He's battled all sorts of different power sets, as well as entire armies. He is going into this not underskilled.
Mhm.
So this is kind of a fantasy versus sci-fi matchup. We
Yeah.
have half parent deity, so it's like heretical power versus like kind of sounds like a classic comic book origin story almost, with like the
Yeah.
pseudoscience given the
Yeah.
powers. Okay, that's interesting. Percy, he fights like with a sword and he uses water powers. How does Michael fight? Like because he has electricity powers, but what does it look like when Michael's squaring up with someone?
So at the beginning of the book, in the beginning of the series, it's just shocking. That's all he does is just walk up to someone, grab them, shock. But as the series goes by, and as he's fighting more and more people, that starts to work less and less because people, they learn. So over time, he gets some combat training to learn how to square up a little bit better. But beyond that, he has carried a pistol. So he does have that on him. But his electric based powers are always going to be what he falls back on. So as I said, he can just grab and shock people, but on top of that, he is able to shoot arcs of electricity. He's able to form electric balls in his hand and throw them. They range from the size of a golf ball to a watermelon. And he's able to almost silently surge out electricity in ways to stealth take out people. He does it a lot during their raids of Elgin bases, that he will just walk up near someone and just pulse, and it will just surge through the air and take them out.
Okay. So he has a lot of like electricity powers, especially at long range. Does he have anything to fight with at like, if someone like gets in real close range and is like trying to put the paws on him, or has a sword they're trying to slash at him? Does he have any like kind of?
He's got hands.
He's got hands.
He has fought against multiple people with knives and swords and such. He's gotten very good at dodging out of the way of them. And he's on a couple occasions he's used his electricity to like a sword's coming at him. He doesn't like grab it because that's stupid, but he'll like swipe it and then jolt up the sword.
Interesting. Okay. To kind of touch on some of Percy's powers, he does have general hydrokinesis, which has the standard stuff you would imagine that would have. He can kind of like telekinetically control water into whatever shape he wants. He's made giant tidal waves. He's made like big hands out of water to like crush people. He's made like water bubbles to like hold people. Uh, he also has like some. He can make it very solid. Like obviously he made water hands that can somehow hold someone despite being made of water. Like normally that shouldn't work. You would just fall through water, but he can make it that water's holding you somehow. Um, he can also like walk on water, and I think he let other people walk on water one time. So he can also just kind of like make it solid somehow. Um, he can't control water. He can also create his own water like a Pokemon. Under now, this isn't nearly as easy for him as just like controlling water around him, but in emergency cases, he has like shot water out of himself or kind of just summoned waves in like a volcano or something where there is zero water. Um, an interesting power is that when he is in water, he gets empowered and it also heals him. So he's an incredibly good like fighter on land, but it's like Aquaman rules. As soon as like he's in the water, he's like way more powerful, way more threatening, and it also like will heal him of like poisons and slashes and wounds. It's very helpful. Something that's interesting is that like he water. He doesn't just control water. As a son of a god, like reality kind of works a little different. Water kind of obeys him and like doesn't want to hurt him, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So he's not just like immune to like waters and like he can't be drowned. He's like immune to like the kinetic energy in water. This is kind of weird to explain, but it's like if like Blastoise shot like a hydro pump at Percy, because it's made of water, it wouldn't hurt him, even though there's like still like kinetic energy behind that like really powerful blast. Like it just wouldn't work. It's like a it's almost like a weird JRPG immunity where like you can be immune to like certain types of damage, even if like earth damage is still like a big rock hitting you.
All right.
He can yeah, but he can't just control like seawater. He can control various types of waters. I think he doesn't do this unless it's like really convenient, like if someone's like using blood or poison. But if it's a liquid, he can control it. Yeah, I think that's like the big thing. He can control boats. I don't think it's gonna be super relevant in this fight, but if Michael Vey makes the mistake of trying to retreat onto a sailboat, Percy can control that sailboat, make it tie him up. That's not gonna be good for Michael.
All right.
So the famous Michael Vey speedboat will not be helping him in this fight.
Damn it! That was my win con.
But beyond just controlling normal water, he's the son of like the sea and storm god. Like Poseidon's always like whipping up sea storms, so he can make like hurricanes around him. This is another power that drains him faster than just normal water, but he can like do that. These winds usually control like the snow and sleet and hail around him.
All right.
He does not have any earth powers that some Sons of Poseidon have. He can talk to fish and he can talk to like horses. You
Hell
never
yeah.
know when that'll come in handy. Yeah. Generally, that's kind of what Percy's working with in terms of just like his usual like water abilities. So that's kind of like the clash here is like Percy's water versus Michael Vey's electricity.
Yeah. All right.
And I don't want to necessarily get. I don't know why I said that. This is a debate. I do want to get into the debate of it. I feel like most people will look at this be like, oh, water versus electricity. If you electrocute Percy, that's water that's going to conduct the electricity. Percy has fought a lot of lightning users before. Jason Grace has like shot him with direct lightning bolts, and that does not really affect him much. Besides being like a punch, basically, that he kind of just like gets up from and keeps on going, keeps on trucking. He has just been like electrocuted many times. It's just kind of like fine. It's like anime cartoon logic where like the lightning bolt doesn't really do much damage beyond like hurting him and then once it stops electrocuting him, he's kind of just fine to move on. Another thing is like this is like real early, and I don't remember the specific situation, but Clarice, like the bully of the Percy Jackson series, has like an electrocuted spear, and I think like Clarice tried to electrocute Percy, but being in water made him like immune to electrocution. So I think like it's actually the opposite, where the water will not only not conduct it, but I think will actually give him a limited degree of resistance to like electrical attacks. So like a water shield wouldn't just be like negated by electricity. A water shield should like legitimately work if he tries to like Palpatine electrocute him.
Is it cool if I interrupt from time to time?
If you have like questions you want to ask, yeah. I just ask you don't like turn to like a 2v1 or anything where you also like argue for Michael. But if you have like questions or just want to point something out, that's totally
I was
actually
just going to
preferred.
point out Poseidon is also the god of earthquakes, and that's how Percy was able to erupt Mount St. Helens. in the fourth
Yes, he does have. Yeah, he does have these kinds of earth powers. He doesn't have it nearly to the degree as some other characters.
To be fair, mountains are kind of full of magma, which is just a liquid anyway.
It could be a little bit of both, yeah. He can do that, but that's not really his go-to. But if there's ever a very specific situation, that could come into play.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you think what's he gonna do in this fight?
So I kind of went over some of his like more basic powers. There are a few IG others that I do think, after listening to you a little bit, would help out a little bit here. For one thing, is that Michael pretty regularly keeps up an electric shield. It's basically a massive force field around him of pure electric energy. We've seen in the books that he's able to, even without the shield, use his electric powers to completely disintegrate bullets before they can hit him. But with the shield up, they don't even make it an inch past the outer, like the first, like the beginning of it. They enter and immediately disintegrate. So closing that distance is going to be rough. But also something we can talk about is the last two books of Michael Vey. So in the last couple books, Michael kind of becomes a lot bigger of a deal than he was earlier. And this includes getting some of getting similar powers to some of the other glows. So he's able to absorb others' electricity. He's able to use a pseudo, almost in a similar sense to the way Daredevil is able to see, using like electro waves. He gets something like that. But the big one is the power that he has similar to his girlfriend Taylor, which is the ability to reset your mind. So any physical contact or electrical contact basically means that Michael is able to give your brain a reboot. In the beginning of the series, we see that Taylor uses it to make someone just stop moving for a second, or in the case of, there was a teacher who was particularly picking on Michael. She reset him in the middle of class. He stopped and kind of had a whole "where the hell am I" moment. But later on in the series, both her and Michael have the ability to straight up give people seizures with it and completely shut them down for minutes. And then there's also Michael's big thing, which is, I won't go into the power of it quite yet. I want to wait until we get into stats. But near the middle of the seventh book, seventh or eighth book, I'm bad with the numbers on these, Michael dies. There is a huge explosion, and he's just gone for pretty much the rest of the book. Until the end, where we find out that no, he wasn't dead. He has unlocked his ultimate ability. He can become pure electricity. So he literally completely transcends his physical form to become a being of pure electricity. Physical attacks either phase or disintegrate, and he is able to just completely in up to even just not like you like just dissolve and just be fine and just be everywhere in the electricity around.
Hmm. So this isn't quite what you're talking about, but just for the sake of being thorough, I think like Percy has resisted like mind altering magic and like mind erasing things. I think using electricity to is like very different. So just like being like having like the godly aura to resist magic wouldn't quite be the same thing. I think
Yeah.
that is like an
Mhm.
interesting
Yeah.
How specifically Taylor's power works is that she basically interrupts the electrical processes of your brain to make them not happen for a second, basically.
Yeah.
yeah.
hmm
So do they do this just by like controlling the electricity in the brain, or do they send electricity like through your body to like connect to the brain and then control it?
So from what
Sorry.
we've seen, from what we've seen in the books, is that when she like makes contact with someone and does the reset, it seems to be almost a more disruption rather than uh ascending electricity in. More so, she makes contact and then she takes that electricity, or she just halts it where it is in your brain to stop it from processing.
Um, in the first book, I don't believe Taylor needs contact because she does it to this like pop star on stage while she's in the audience.
She does. It's in she what so what she does is she makes contact with the railing.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is anything that's conductive can work with these powers. Even the more odd ones, like Taylor's brain reset. If you are touching something metal or that is conductive of water, she is able to reach you through it.
Okay, then thank you.
I think that that is a specific power that wouldn't just be fully negated by Percy. But I
Yeah,
do think something interesting to note is like Percy's regeneration in water would any damage to his brain would kind of like be fixed by the water.
yeah,
It doesn't happen like he has to like consciously heal himself. Like what he does is like he just goes into water and lets like the water heal him. So like as Percy fights and more water gets thrown around everywhere, Percy's essentially like it's like a video game. But instead of like wasting the health pots, he's putting more and more health pots around as the fight goes on. So like he'll just have like I think you could argue that the electricity would potentially like freeze him or like stop him for a second, but I don't think it would necessarily like wipe or like reset anything because I think the water would fix that. But I do think like you could argue it would like at least freeze him or stop him in place for a second or two. I think that's kind of fair.
that's okay.
Now, here's something interesting about Percy's sword. Percy got a sword from his father called Riptide. This is a sword made of celestial bronze. This ain't your dollar store mall ninja sword. This is godly material. This sword kills the shit out of anything basically. Um, and fun fact, it's so good at killing really strong guys that it will specifically not kill you if you're a loser. Like a specific thing is like celestial bronze. It's initially portrayed as like it only works on like gods and monsters, but more realistically, how it pans out in the series is it works on you if you're like a named character in the story and have like any relevance whatsoever. It just doesn't work on you if you're like an NPC in the background. Like it's like not worked on something like 2 times in the entire series. There's been like 20 books. It'll work on basically everything. But I think if you're just like some random nobody, it doesn't work on you, which I think is funny because I think Chiron literally says it doesn't harm those it deems as not important, which I think is very funny. But Michael seems important enough to me to be harmed by the storm, I would say.
Maybe.
He's got a whole bunch of book. He's the
Yeah.
opposite of an NPC. He's got 9 books as far as I'm aware, or maybe he's
Yeah.
only in the last one a little bit, 8.5. So I guess the question is, can the sword kill electricity? That's a tough question, because celestial bronze does conduct electricity. You could argue like it wouldn't just naturally like slice through it, but something very interesting is that it does hurt ghosts. So, we always assume that when soul damage is a thing, the other person has a soul unless stated otherwise. We don't just assume every series that doesn't say anything is soulless. If Michael Vey is alive as electricity, I would argue his soul's in there somewhere. And thus, if Percy stabs the electricity that is Michael Vey will have like immense pain from his spirit being sheared by the celestial bronze. And I think Percy Jackson could indeed kill a lightning bolt. He could kill electricity if he needed to, if that electricity is a person.
So my argument is that Percy, there's nothing really to hit, because it's not like he like is like standing there as like a purple like energy thing of electricity or anything. He's just gone. He can just dissipate out into the into the atmosphere essentially.
So like what? So did he run away? Did he leave? What's the scenario we're creating for this fight? He turns into electricity and he's out of there.
No, he turns into electricity and then he reforms somewhere else and blasts him, and then dissipates, or if we need to, he can show up as a semi-transparent being, and blast from there.
I guess my question is like, in order to blast Percy, would he have to show up in any form or function, or could he just like exist in like electricity a mile away and then just send electricity at Percy?
Based on what we saw, he does need to appear at least a bit. He can't be completely dissipated out into the world. He needs to be at least somewhat physically present.
So I think this is going to be very interesting for Percy, because Percy has ADHD, and that this is very good for him in this scenario. In Percy Jackson, demigods have ADHD because it is their bodies being hardwired and primed for combat. It's specifically stated that it like kind of lets them kind of see the world in slow motion, and it even kind of gives them like a certain degree of like their brain naturally like predicts and analyzes combat and what the best move would be, which is why like heroes, like Greek heroes, can like fight off like scores of people, despite the fact that normally if you're being ganged up on, you instantly lose, because they can just like see the hero's path of what they need to do to win, basically. That's very flowery the way I phrased it, but basically it means like he's gonna be super competent in combat, being able to like predict where people are moving and stuff.
You would not believe how sad I got when I got diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia and found out Percy Jackson wasn't real.
Yeah, that's highly unfortunate.
That was my Hogwarts letter moment.
So demigods are just, they're Greek heroes. They are naturally far stronger and faster than humans. So I think, depending on how stats turn out, and Percy is the most experienced and the most skilled person in the series by a long shot. He upscales skill and strategy of basically anyone in the series, unless they're like, strategy-wise, maybe like the gods of wisdom and Annabeth are better. But in terms of like martial skill, he's closer to like a rival to Ares than like an inferior to Ares. Like, he is incredibly skilled and incredibly good at combat. So depending on how stats turn out, if Michael Vey shows up a couple times to blast him as like electricity incarnate, I think that like that would throw him off. He wouldn't immediately be able to like, he wouldn't instantly know, aha, there you are, I will stab you. He's gonna be thrown off a couple of times. But with the water around to heal him, and his own like natural resistance to electricity, I think he would like figure out what's going on. Okay, he's teleporting around, so I can't get a track on him, and he's like blasting me, and he's like intangible to a lot of things. He would like begin to like understand and follow the patterns of Michael showing up, and then like he would, similar to Deathstroke, putting the sword behind him to stab Flash as he's running at him. Percy would find the perfect moment to stab the specific electricity going through the air that is Michael and begin to slice into his soul.
Damn.
I would also like to say, like, you don't necessarily need to get a killing blow with the sword. The sword kind of, it's not necessarily like poisonous, but you, with Imperial Gold and Celestial Bronze and other metals in the series, they do just kind of start to destroy your essence, like, over time. Like, Jason Grace, another demigod, was, like, stabbed from behind with Imperial Gold, and they were like, we have, like, ambrosia and other healing potions, but they only so effective because the Imperial Gold is, like, wearing away your essence. You're just gonna have to like tough it out until it like naturally goes away. And even a minor god, which is kind of crazy, God's healing abilities in the series is very infrequent because sometimes they're like only a god can heal this, and other times they're like, oh no, gods can't heal this. We need like special healing stuff. Even though earlier that healing stuff was said to be inferior to gods. God healing is weird, but the point is that the god couldn't heal it in this scenario, which I think says something despite the inconsistency.
All right.
And like it's just like a thing where like Percy will stab someone. And this might be like a monster physiology thing, but like monsters just kind of disintegrate after getting stabbed, whereas like this doesn't happen when they're just like shot by bullets. I think even so, he doesn't even need to like get the killing blow on electricity. As weird as that sounds, if he stabs his electricity soul enough times, I believe his essence will just disintegrate away if he gets enough hits in.
All right.
So yeah, is there anything else we want to talk about? Do we kind of want to get into the stats?
Double trying to think, make sure that's everything. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all the main abilities.
I'm pretty excited for this.
I think we can get into stats now. I have better stats than you, so I'll just let you go first, and I'll use the stuff I barely need.
Damn.
Right out the gate.
I mean, unless you want me to start small, and then you can bring up the bigger stuff. So, like, there's this air of, oh, maybe, and then I'll be like, oh, actually, I'll just bring up the stuff that's better. How do you want this to go?
Damn.
Sure, it's just gonna be like Fall Guys Big Bang. Big Bang. Here you go.
I'll go first. What do we want to start with? What do we think would be best to start with?
That's a good
The
question.
beginning.
I've dropped my mouse on the ground.
You know what? Let's start. I can start with we'll do speed. I'll go into my speed.
Okay.
So beginning of the series, Michael has literally no speed feats for the first few books. He doesn't really do anything outside of running slightly faster than soldiers. But as the series progresses, he gets more. He gets pretty easy bullet timing by the fourth book. Being able to use his electricity to disintegrate bullets, as I said. But it gets a little better because, like I said, as the series go, he gets more powerful, but so do the other glows. Not to the same level that he's growing because he's the main character. But they all tend to grow, and that includes one other child named Zeus. Zeus, unlike Michael, who has with Michael, how he started was just he had to grab and jolt. He couldn't shoot electricity. Zeus is able to just straight up fire bolts of electricity. And later on in the series, as he grows, and at one point while being boosted by another glow named Jade, it is directly compared to lightning, in which Michael is actually he catches the electricity that Zeus shoots at him and absorbs it. And it is directly compared to lightning multiple times throughout the series. After that, that includes. I'm saying this as in like not like oh my god, it's like lightning. It is scientists and like people who like know like as like everything they do about the glows and the electricity stuff, stating that it is as powerful as lightning. Meaning it is likely as fast as lightning, given their descriptions of it.
Okay, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
So lightning timing.
Lightning's like Mach 1,000. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's generally good.
Mhm.
That's like a lower level something or other. So there's this feat where so this is like a very specific feat, but the Poseidon's pearls are a artifact that you put them you have these pearls, you crush them, and they create a bubble around you, and then they send you to like the surface of the ocean. And something interesting is that when Percy used these pearls, they were in the underworld, which is like miles beneath like the actual like ground. So this went through like a whole bunch of ground and then just the entire ocean in seconds. And this has been calced to like Mach 3600. Generally this would scale to it because just like this is like a magical ability made by people Percy would scale to. And also people like were almost able to like intercept them as they were escaping. But I just kind of want to bring that up because that's like close to lightning speed. Getting a little higher than that, we have Zeus also zapped Bacchus into a goat. This is just very funny because this was just calculating like how far away Zeus was, because Zeus was like at the top of a mountain and Bacchus was like in a city. So they just like teleported. So it's just a very fun like feat for like how fast Zeus's like magical lightning blast can go. Scaling Percy to Zeus, I guess why you wouldn't want to do that is fair because he's a god, but also Percy does just fight like the Titan Hyperion and Kronos possessing Luke's body and many other Titan, and he fights the giants that are a threat to the gods blatantly in Heroes of Olympus. Just like that's a general like that's fine. I think something else we could talk about is Hermes' shoes flew all the way from like the top of Tartarus all the way to the bottom of Tartarus in a matter of seconds as well, which would get like 1% light speed. I kind of want to get a feat that's like a little bit like blatantly like, oh, this person very clearly scales to this. So if we go up to this 13% light speed,
God.
Apollo one time something like scared him while he was driving the sun, and he accidentally made it like 6 a.m. to noon instantly. And moving the sun that fast would be like 10% light speed. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff like that. What's another good fun one? Okay, this one I think is just the easiest one to scale Percy to. It's like the most blatant. Zia, okay. So Percy fights a character named Carter Kane from the Egyptian series. And Carter Kane scales to another Egyptian character named Zia, who just reacts to a light beam. And this would get 16% light speed. Yeah. In general, we have like low rally percentage light speed. It's pretty solid. I think Percy's pretty solidly in the higher speed category on this one.
Relativistic.
I wasn't expecting that.
You thought Vey was faster?
I didn't think he was faster. I thought you were faster. I didn't think it was by that much.
I mean, I have way higher stuff, but I don't want to. It's unnecessary.
No. You're lying.
I mean, do you want me to? I mean, I'll keep going.
No.
To be fair, just from an audience perspective, it seems like, for me at least, most of that stuff could probably be thrown out except for the Zia scaling.
I mean, that's fair, but I just think like calculating distance over time is much more funny than just like kind of. All right. So
The first sentence of this is insane. Percy can move his leg muscle 90
So this is just Percy fighting Helios, the god of light, and Percy was moving about 40% the speed of light when he was fighting Helios in the 5th book. and comparing to Helios's like light-based attacks. Uh, then we have this one where Blackjack was it to be as fast as light. Very hyperbolic, but I think it's just a funny statement. Where at the as fast as light, the Pegasus swooped down, is clamped his teeth on, and the best armor. I think that you could argue hyperbolic, but I just like that statement. Scylla from the second book was also stated to move like a laser beam as it went down and like grabbed people from the ship. Scylla's the Odyssey Sea of Monsters monster that like has this really long neck that like grabs some people from the crew and brings it back up to his mountaintop really fast.
That is tripping me up. Monster is hyphenated, and I can't stop staring at it.
Yeah, I see that. I
Why
don't know
did
why.
they do that? I don't know.
That is, ow, that hurts my head.
The fact that it's hyphenated suggests other types of stirs.
It does.
Other than
Types
monster.
of stairs.
So this is a statement that there's these I forget what they're called, but like the three people in the Greek mythology that only have one eye, and they keep like
The Fates? No, not the Fates. The
though everyone knows what we're talking about. We can't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
This is and they drive a taxi in Percy. It's very funny. It said that Manhattan blurred into a light speed smear when they hit the gas.
I remember these ones, but I don't remember their names.
Yeah. And so there's just a lot of stuff going at the speed of light. And also there's the 14 billion times faster than light speed feat, where the fact that the gods can just make constellations, and then the demigods just fight the titans who fight the gods. But if we don't want to use this, then yeah, sure, 10% light speed. That's all. That's the highest it gets.
I poked the bear. That's my bad. I literally said that he's lying, and he's like, "All right, here's more." No,
Yeah.
all right, no, that's fine. We can keep lightning timing is fine, and it will at least keep me in the fight a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we can. I don't really have more on speeds. We can go. Power and durability. I kind of have the same feat for.
Okay.
So there's two. One of them is only power, and that is during the sixth book. Yeah, during the sixth book, Michael Vey uses electricity to destroy an entire Elgin base. And while originally it kind of looks like he just overloads the electricity in it and just like shuts it down, it's actually stated that his electricity was so powerful that he caused all of the individual like bits of destruction across the entire base, not just like shutting it down and it exploded from one spot. He caused the entire thing, and the base is described as being the size of a small town. But then the big one, which is Michael's death. So during that, they're on an aircraft, and Michael is at the time he looks like he is overloading on electricity, and it has the explosion, which is described as a nuclear blast equivalent. And we see that not only does this his output power, but he survived his power outputting like that. The reason he was gone for so long wasn't like a healing thing or anything like that. It was simply him having to learn how to exist and reform as pure electricity because he had never done that before. So he survived that massive nuclear output.
Okay.
Survived in a sense, like his body was still gone, right?
His body was gone, not because it got destroyed. Anything, he wasn't hurt. It was just he output, the explosion happened, and then he became pure electricity.
Okay,
And
he didn't get like vaporized.
No, he had to, but it was from surviving the explosion and absorbing back some of that electricity that he became pure electricity and had to learn how to manage that, which he did master.
Thank you for the context.
So that's pretty good. Like nuclear explosions, that's like at a low end consistent with the town and scaling earlier, or like getting into like the city levels. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
So that's generally measured from roughly to like in the kilotons to megatons range in terms of TNT.
Right.
Don't worry about the fact of why I'm quantifying that so specifically. So let's just start like at a baseline. Percy once just like shattered this massive glacier, which would have been a 65 kilotons of TNT feet. So that is another like kind of town level scaling end as well. And that's nice because it's just like a direct Percy feat. We don't gotta argue it farther than that. Percy's strong enough to not shatter, but like fragment this massive glacier. Let's see. This feat is performed by a god, so I'll just get past it. Hazel Levisk, a son of Pluto, was able
Daughter.
to, kind of destroy the foundations of an island. Now, this did kill her, but it does show, like, the power of Hazel's magic, which Percy would scale to. And Hazel controlling all this metal beneath the island to destroy it would net roughly 200 kilotons of TNT. So we're in those like town levels fairly consistently as well.
Okay.
Going a little higher, the giants, which Percy and Jason just this isn't even like really like chain scaling. This is like I'm pretty sure these are the giants that Percy directly fought, and they're capable of shaking mountains, which would net roughly a megaton of TNT, which would be small city level.
Okay.
Going a little higher, we have a feat performed by Nico. We all love Nico D'Angelo. He should fight Nightcrawler in Death Battle. He created this massive fissure, which the speed and the power... And the thing is, this fissure, what's crazy about this, is that it's a fissure all the way down into the underworld, which is a crazy
damn.
distance beneath the earth. To create a fissure this big, this would be like a 7 megaton city level feat. Percy's frequently attributed to being like the strongest demigod. So even if like Nico's like in discussion for being like top 5 demigods, like Percy's pretty comfortably either equal to or superior to Nico. There's also another direct Percy feat where Percy destroyed. He caused Mount St. Helens to erupt. This is like we brought this up earlier when we were talking about Percy kind of having like earth-shaking Poseidon heritage. He Mount St. Helens erupts with 24 megatons of TNT. So if Percy did anything similar to this, that would also be superior to like the Nico feat. And
Does that mean Percy Jackson takes place in the 80s?
It doesn't. This wasn't the same feat. I think it was just stated to be similar.
Okay.
But just to like just comfortably put myself over the city level without getting like too high into like the gods reshaping the earth, we have Leo atomizing Gaia. Gaia was a giant earth construct at this point because Gaia was like waking up and like recreating her body, and Leo uses his fire magic to power a ballista or a catapult. I don't remember specifically what, but it creates this massive explosion that just atomizes Gaia. And for the magic to be that powerful, it's been calculated to be a gigaton of TNT. And I think Percy just being stronger than Leo, his water magic would be more powerful than Leo's fire magic. So I think we can safely say Percy can easily reach like a gigaton of TNT in terms of the power of his stuff. I also have higher ends, but I won't bring it up unless someone calls me a liar again.
No, okay, so all right.
So I think
That was. Oh, I was just gonna say that this one doesn't seem as big a gap as the speed one, thankfully.
As long as you don't question me, yeah.
No.
Yeah, but we can say, like, I think as a debater, I would posit that Percy has a comfortable edge in both speed and AP. So if Michael wants to win, he has to out hacks or figure out a way to kill Percy outside of just winning the brawl.
Right.
Yeah.
Which that's where I think the intangibility comes in, um, as well as the electric shield making him really hard to hit. Um, and while I do think that, well, I do agree with what you said earlier about Percy being able to, at the very least, being able to like partially not fully fall for the brain reset thing. I think that could be the opportunity he needs is just that little bit because I do think that being just having your guard completely dropped would make things hit a lot harder.
I guess like another question I'd like to ask. We normally talk about skill and experience earlier because it's usually not as important, but I'm kind of curious. Like Percy has fought almost every power under the sun. He's fought electricity users, which would be relevant here. And he's also fought like he's got the whole Avatar the Last Airbender experience. He's fought fire, water, earth,
Right.
wind, magic, all sorts of stuff. Has Michael Vey ever fought someone that wasn't like electricity based?
Well, he's fought like more normal people and like there's like some robot stuff. But everything's kind of centered around electricity. But they are all very different because of just how different the power sets are. Because only very few of the glows have like just straight like electric attacks. A lot of them are very support based. Um, like I was talking about with Taylor and the brain resets, but also things like uh draining electricity and such. So he's pretty used to fighting both people with electricity and people that are like weapons experts. Um, One thing I am curious about because I've read a lot of Percy Jackson, but I'm drawing a blank. How long was Percy like trained and like fighting for?
So Percy was not explicitly trained until he first went to Camp Half Blood, where demigods go to find safe haven and get trained up. This
Right.
was when he was 12, and I think at the current point, at the furthest point in the timeline where books take place, he's now in like his early 20s. So we can say like roughly like a decade of solid training. But something else to consider is the fact that demigods are nepo babies, and they kind of come hardwired with their ADHD is literally said to be like kind of genetic combat training. So like they kind of start off with like kind of like high level competence at fighting, and then we added a decade of training on top of that. And what's funny
Okay.
is that Percy Jackson, in his first year, him fighting Ares, the war god, was in his first not even first year. He had not even been training for a full summer at this point because this was in the first book. And even if we want to say like Percy was taking it or Ares was taking it easy on Percy, it's just kind of stated that Percy's always excelled in swordsmanship. And I think if we go even to like book 4, The Battle of the Labyrinth, which I'm trying to remember. So his first summer was The Lightning Thief, second summer was Sea of Monsters. Titan's Curse happens
Took
in the
place
winter
that
of that
same
year.
year.
So Battle Labyrinth would be his third summer at Camp Half Blood. So, and he's not training all year. He's only training in the summer. So first summer, second summer, third summer during Battle of the Labyrinth, when he would be 14, is at the point where Percy's like literally no one in the camp even provides a good fight sparring wise anymore. Like in order to get a good training session, Percy has to fight like an entire cabin of specifically either the Athena cabin or the Ares cabin gauntlet style. And then he starts to get tired, which is why at the end of the gauntlet they're able to start like giving Percy a good fight. If he's left with like the Apollo cabin or the Hermes cabin, he kind of just clears their gauntlet without much effort. I don't remember why Percy's so good at sword fighting, but he's just kind of like absurdly skilled. And this was when
Okay.
he was 14. Then we add like another 7 years of experience on top of that. So
Okay.
I'm sorry. Were you gonna bring up some kind of experience argument?
So I remembered Percy being a lot older when he first got to Camp Half Blood.
Oh,
In my mind, I thought he was a lot older. So I was like, oh,
The movies, unfortunate as that is.
yeah.
I was like, oh, I could have like an experience edge here because Michael has been on the run and fighting against the Elgin and their army since he was 15, and he's like 21 now by the end of the last book.
I would say that they would probably have like comparable. Actually, no, I wouldn't say that. Percy has better experience, but you know, Michael Vay's experience isn't bad though. It's like not like an
Yeah.
infinite gap or anything.
All right.
It seems to me like I personally would give Percy the combat edge because
Yeah.
from what I remember of reading the Michael Bay books, Michael doesn't hand-to-hand fight the human trained soldier like spec op guys that Hatch or whatever. I forget his name. But
Yeah,
it starts with an
Hatch.
H. Hatch? Okay.
Yeah.
He has like super spec op soldiers or whatever guarding his company, right?
Yeah.
Michael
Michael
doesn't
just-
really fight them though. He more so just steamrolls them with his powers. Percy would just kick the crap out of them.
All right, Sherm, I'm sending you something real quick.
Hang on, we got a last minute argument.
Oh.
I guess to kind of say my perspective on how I see this going down. Okay, so I have some bad news.
What's up?
So I dropped my mouse, so my right click doesn't work anymore. So I can't
no.
right click to like save and bring this to a folder. You have access to this. Could you just bring up
That's
this
right,
image?
I can do that. I forgot that I have access to that. Let's go.
Yeah.
Image.
So no matter what, no matter how hard I win this debate, I'm the real loser because I have to buy a new mouse after this.
All right. So this is the cover art for the second book in the series, Michael Vay, Rise of the Elgin, which personally this is my favorite book in the series. But that's not the argument I'm trying to make here. So the argument is the rats. So these are electric devouring rats that Hatch uses to power some of his like facilities, but as well as they are drawn to the glows. And Michael actually, for a little bit after this, is able to use them to boost his power. He doesn't need that anymore. It doesn't really work anymore because he's gotten so absurdly powerful. But Percy's not ready for a rat to be thrown at him mid-battle.
Pikachu, Choo-choo.
I would say Percy Jackson was turned into a guinea pig in the second book. So if anyone is ready to fight on the rats level, he's got experience. But if we want to bring up pets, I could bring in Mrs. O'Leary, the hell.
Oh no!
No, we don't gotta do that.
Or Blackjack the Pegasus, or you know, there's I don't know if arguing the animal companions in a mythology world is the move for you here.
You're right.
I know I'm technically not supposed to turn this into a 2v1, but a Sherm, I did think of something.
I mean, I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm very comfortable in my win. So if you have something for Michael Vay, go for it.
So if are we doing like composite verse or however it is, however you say it?
Like verse equals to a certain degree, I would say.
The mist would exist. Michael is not a demigod, so Michael, I have an argument that he wouldn't see Percy's Riptide as a sword. He would see it the way all the other mortals see it, as a gun. So do you think that might throw him off enough, at least at first, for Percy to get a good hit in?
I think that may work to a certain degree. All right, if we want to say like maybe Michael sees it as like a baseball bat or something, because Percy would
I
be
remember in the first book that everyone says Riptide looks like a rifle.
I think you're right. Specifically, the mist works to kind of just let the human mind assume whatever would make it like just not seem weird in the moment. Mm-hmm. And in this, it's the context of like oh, these kids are like running with dangerous weapons, like the first assumption would be like, oh, they're holding a gun. I think if we're arguing Michael Vey would be unable to see the magic initially, but Percy was trying to kill him, so he'd be swinging at him, we could say maybe it's like a baseball bat or something. But I would say like that would be a fun interaction. I don't think that would affect the debate too much, just because
All
it's
right.
not like it makes Percy like invisible or anything. I would say like the
Yeah.
most effective. Some demigods can use the mist to like Jedi mind trick certain characters. Percy has never. Okay, that's not true. He's done it one time. One time, like some police officers were hassling him, so he made them see like I think it was like a bunch of like cars recklessly driving or something, even though they were driving normal. I don't remember the specifics, but the cops had to like attend to some traffic that didn't exist, and that's what Percy did. But I would say
Interesting.
like Percy only did that because he. I would say in this context, if he saw Michael like shooting lightning, he would not assume that Michael's a normal guy. He would be like, "Oh, this is a another mythological guy I gotta
Like
fight."
a
So like,
secret kid of
yeah,
Zeus or something.
it wouldn't be his instinct to like go with the myth strategy. And even if he wanted to, he's not very good at it. So it'd be, yeah. I would say like
he's
that's interesting, but
very
that's a
athletic.
relatively minor point in this fight.
All right, just something I thought of.
I like how
Alright.
I said you could argue for Michael, and you threw Allheart even further under the bus than he already was.
Sorry, I've only read up to the 4th book, and I don't remember half of the series. Like, I remember bits and pieces.
So,
Uh,
do we want to
sorry,
move into final argument territory?
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
I'm good.
Alright.
I'm good with that.
Trop, if you are still here, you may throw up the poll. I'll kind of just start with Percy because I feel like his wins are a bit more straightforward. Um, Basically, Percy is just in the initial melee bout. We have Percy with a sword versus Michael with just hands. I didn't really get to argue that point, but general sword beats hands. Um, but also, like, I think Percy is like more skilled. So, despite the fact that he has like the move set advantage with sword versus hands, he also would just be like more skilled. So maybe Michael could like hand to hand like more grounded opponents with weapons, but Percy with a sword is someone that Michael would not be able to keep up with close quarters combat. If we go into like the Percy shooting water versus Michael shooting electricity, I would say in general, Percy's water is not only much more powerful, but Percy has fought electricity users and would like kind of know how to fight them and what to look out for. Whereas Michael Vey has not fought a waterbender like Percy before. He would not immediately be as prepared for the situation as Percy is. So even if we want to say like their electrokinesis and their hydrokinesis are like comparable in terms of like how useful the powers are, Percy has like the power and experience advantage to take care of that. And I think that Michael's hacks would potentially be countered by Percy healing himself with the water, or and his invulnerability as electricity would be countered by Celestial Bronze being able to kill basically anything, and he has the combat experience and the speed advantage to catch Michael in the brief moments where he appears to attack Percy in his like final electricity form. So I would say Percy holds a very comfortable win and has every advantage he needs to take it. Allheart, what are you thinking?
All right. So I do think that there's a little bit of a stat gap, but I don't think that Michael needs it because I do think that with when he's in a physical form, his electric shield is going to keep Percy from getting a good hit in on him. His pure electricity form is going to stop Percy from really being able to hit him. You could potentially argue that he could be hit, but I'm not fully convinced on that. I do think that with the intangible form, he would be able to completely avoid Percy's attacks, and with the ability to reset his brain, even if it's not as effective on a normal person as it will be on Michael. I'm sorry, it's not as effective on Percy as it is on like a regular person. It'll still give Michael the gaps he needs to get that win in. So I think that with his specific power set of being able to stop Percy from getting his hit in, I think he'll be able to get the win.
I had an argument, but I forgot to bring it up, and we're in the final arguments where that's not allowed, so I won't. But I'll bring it up
Yeah.
after the vote. So fiction. After everything you've heard today, what are you thinking?
So, shoot, I was just thinking of things, and now they're gone. Oh well, let's go with what I originally had. So, I feel like a big part of this is going to be who, like, their ideal environments. Like I already know Percy's. It's anywhere with water. I'll heart real fast. What would you say, like, if you could put Michael in the perfect environment for him in this fight? Where would it be?
A building with a lot of metal.
Okay, because Michael has magnetic powers, right?
Yes.
I think I remember that. Is celestial bronze capable of being magnetized? Sure.
I don't remember if it's magnetic. I know it's conductive. I think it is. Okay, so it's imperial gold and celestial bronze. So I guess it's as magnetic as gold and bronze, maybe. Which I
So not
don't
very.
think- not
So not
particularly
very okay,
magnetic.
because I had the part of my idea was Michael could just magnetize the sword with one hand.
I thought about arguing for that, but then I'm like, you know what? I don't think because bronze is not very magnetic.
Okay, so
I
full.
know we're not trying to argue, but I think this doesn't particularly matter since the magnet doesn't work. The funniest counter is that the sword just reappears in Percy's pocket
Yeah.
whenever it goes away. So if
Yeah.
Michael, let's say it was magnetic and Michael just throws it into the horizon, Percy would be like, just pull. So Riptide is a pen. When you uncap it, turns to a sword. If Michael launched the sword away, Percy would just take it from his pocket again. 'Cause
Yeah,
it
it
reappears in his
always
pocket.
in his pocket.
He would have to remove his pants first, and that's a whole. I don't think that's part of Michael's strategy in general.
That brings up an interesting question that I will not expand on because I have an argument to make. So I think I'm leaning with Percy Jackson, not just because I haven't read the rest of the Michael Bay books, not because I haven't read every Percy Jackson book except for the Trials of Apollo ones. I need to read those. It is because I think that Percy can get around the brain trick through sheer ADHD. Because I feel like his instincts will be enough to cover him in that moment where he can't think. And on top of that, while Michael has a good haxy defense, he's not going to be able to keep it up forever, especially if Percy can get him in any sort of water and drown him, because that shield's not going to do anything if Michael is suffocating to death.
Yeah, that was the argument I forgot to make that I was going to bring up afterwards. Is I don't know what Michael's going to do if Percy just drops like a lake's worth of water on him and drowns him. The electricity shield will not prevent him from
Asphyxiation.
of dying of no air.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm voting for Percy just because I feel like he has more reliable win cons. His ideal environment is a lot easier to get to, I feel, than Michael's, and easier to cancel, harder to cancel out than Michael's, because Michael has to get out of the water. Percy can just summon some water and ruin all the electronics in the building. And yeah, I just feel like it's a war of attrition, and Percy can win that.
So we got one vote for Percy. Comment. What are you thinking?
Well, I think if like this was to be an actual episode, as it were, like of a versus show, it would be funny if Percy tried to drag him into the water but ended up next to a shipwreck made out of metal.
Michael Bay just uses the Titanic against Percy.
Yeah.
Just whacks him with it.
But yes, I think I'm probably going to have to go for Percy, and that's based on, like, I agree that, like, the stat gap isn't like the winning thing. Like, I think the winning thing is more just that he can heal better, which is good considering how many times we've mentioned zapping his ADHD brain.
Yeah.
And that would be a terrible win con. So it's a good thing he has the healing factor. He can kind of just jump into the water, I guess, and then overheal through everything is what I'm imagining, regardless. which yeah, I think that pushes it for me into being a Percy victory.
I will end the poll, and Michael Vey has won the poll with
Hell
67%
yeah.
of the poll votes.
Ah.
So I guess they really liked your intangible living electricity argument.
Hell
It's a
yeah.
cool argument.
I don't want to like just keep dogpiling on Michael, but like I do like how we've kind of come to the conclusion that there's like 4 levels of resistance to Percy's brain being turned off. Because step 1, he's naturally resistant to electricity, so it'd be harder to like get electricity through him. But step 2, water heals his brain. But step 3, his body kind of via ADHD fights to a degree without your brain needing as much input. And step 4, of nothing else, he has like mind manipulation resistance, which implies like strong brain. So it's just like there's several interpretations that would resist the mind stopping, which I think is fun.
Yeah.
Also, Percy could just rip all the water out of Michael's cells.
That is something that is theoretically in Percy's capabilities until he has no cells anymore because he's electricity.
True.
I do like how this series seems very sci-fi, where it's like how energy and electricity interacts with the brain, and then we went to, and also somehow Michael Vey's consciousness lives in the electricity. I don't know how that works.
I'm not gonna okay, so the reason I wanted to do this is because I want to talk about Michael Vey. It's like my favorite book series.
Yeah.
That being said, what was the last book, and then he added a couple more, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but that last book where he became pure electricity, I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of a weird ass pull. As well as I don't know what was going on, but that entire last book is everyone treating Michael like he's Jesus. I don't know why, but that's not what I wanted to focus on. I used the feats and stuff, but I wanted to focus on like earlier Michael when I thought that the books were a bit better. But
it actually kind of reminds me of what's the name? Who was the guy? Oh, they had him in Death Battle. He fought the guy from Prototype.
Cole McGrath.
Oh, yeah. Like, he gets the electricity powers from a science thing, and he ends up being sort of Jesus figure of electricity.
Yeah.
This is kind of a random pick, but I always liked Static Shock. Maybe Static Shock versus Michael Vey could be something.
That one's a bit the main thing because I wanted to pick one that was less of a stomp.
Yeah.
Which Cole McGrath might be a bit better because Percy's ridiculous. But I don't know. I always have a soft spot. It's a matchup that I really like because it's one of the first ones that I've come up with where I haven't found anyone else talk. Because like a lot of the time, I've come up with a matchup like Clementine versus Ellie, which is my most wanted. I came up with that on my own, or like Bardock Omni-Man, and then I go online and I find out that everyone else had the idea too. Percy versus Michael, that's one that I came up with, and I've never seen anyone else bring it up. Mainly because that no one really talks about Michael.
Yeah.
I will say, in the community, some people have brought up Jason Grace versus Michael Vey once or twice. I have seen that floating around.
I have.
Do wonder if that's better or worse than this one.
I don't know Jason super well.
Because it's like, Jason's a very similar character to Percy. There's like a lot of parallels where like Jason's kind of like the Roman, because Percy's the son of a Greek god, but there's also like this whole sect of people who are children of the Roman gods. It's a whole thing, but there's this kind of conception of like Jason's like the Roman equivalent of Percy. He would get like a lot of the same scaling because like they fight the same types of characters. But just in terms of like power, Jason also uses electricity, so there could be like some like electricity clashing with like how they each control each other's electricity.
Yeah,
that could be something interesting. If we want to stick with like the young adult book connection.
I came into this ready with Michael to lose. I'm not gonna lie. because Percy's incredible, and it gets wild. Michael, while it is extremely sci-fi and does end up in a little bit more of a fantastical place, it's still relatively grounded comparably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's not. I didn't come here like I didn't submit this because I needed Michael to win. I did this because people should know about Michael Vey.
Yeah.
And Michael Vey should get some better renders.
Yeah,
Right.
well,
Yes.
he needs renders.
Mhm.
Or
How
just
about
any visual material to work with.
something to show his face, please?
Maybe you should pitch it to Fan Battle and get them to do like a script for it
Mhm.
instead.
If they ever do pitches, I am pitching this to Fan Battle.
Mhm.
This is a fun. I think Michael Vey's a fun character. Very hard to put in verses just because of the lack of visual material. But if they ever get that hypothesized TV show that I heard like once upon a time, then
Yeah.
maybe.
I heard
It
about
does
those
sound
rumors,
like
too.
something that would get a TV show. Like,
Yeah. So I think this is pretty interesting. You know, Michael Vey versus Percy, Michael Vey versus Jason Grace, Michael Vey versus Cole McGrath. Let us know in the comments what you like for this idea. Michael Vey is a very unique series to cover, and we'll keep an eye on it, see if it gets any new material in the future. But I think that's
Hell
the long and short of what we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
All Heart, I hope you're satisfied with the rewards of your membership.
Oh, absolutely.
You guys at home, you guys can become a member of this channel and get the opportunity to have us debate and talk about the merits of a matchup of your choosing. People liked it when we talked about the matchup for like 5 minutes at a time during back when we did like frequent like matchup discussions. We'll talk about it for an hour and a half if you want us to, if you become a member. So, thank you everyone so much for watching. All Heart, you were a great debater. Fiction Comet, thank you for being a wonderful jury. And we will get the schedule for August out to you guys soon. Nebula Theater's got some fun stuff planned. We're looking forward to making more content for you, and we will catch you all in the next time.